Okay, it's 7 o'clock on September 9th. This is the 43D committee. In accordance with the governor's order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, general law, chapter 30A, section 20, relating to the 2020 COVID-19 outbreak emergency, the September 9th, 2020 public meeting of the 43D committee shall be physically closed to the public to avoid group congregation. However, if you view this meeting in progress, please go to facebook.com/LakeCAM. You do not need a Facebook account to view this meeting. This meeting will be recorded and available to be reviewed at a later date at www.lakecam.tv/. Okay. So confirming member access as a preliminary matter, this Rich LaCAM, Chairman of the Board of Selectmen, permit me to confirm that all members of staff and persons anticipating the agenda are present and can hear me. So let me go back here one at a time. We have Tracy Craig McGee, the Executive Assistant to the Selectmen. Yeah. Maureen Cadito, Town Administrator. Yeah. We have Mark Knox, Chairman of the Planning Board. We have Liz Nash from the Open Space Committee. Yeah. We have the Chief of Police, Matt Perkins. We have Chris Spratt from the Board of Health. We have Bob Bouchard from the Conservation Commission. We have Chief O'Brien from the Fire Department, and we have Nate Dowling, the Zoning Enforcement Officer and the Building Inspector, and we have John Oliveri, who will be representing the Economic Development Committee. So that's all of us. Okay. All right, so the open meeting of the 43D committee is being conducted remotely, consistent with the Governor's Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020, due to the current state of COVID emergency having to do with COVID-19. In order to mitigate the transmission of COVID-19 virus, we have been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings. As such, the Governor's order suspends the requirement for open meeting law to have all the meetings in public access in a physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. Okay, so that takes care of that. All right. So the first thing on the agenda is initial organization of the board of the committee. We have to elect a chairperson and elect a co-chairperson. So believe me, I don't want to be the chair. If somebody else wants to be the chair, it's fine with me. I got enough to do. So I mean, I'll do it if nobody else wants to do it, but I'd rather see one of the other committee members do it. So if somebody wants
if you don't mind, I'd like to make a motion to have Mark Knox sit as the chair, as a representative of the planning board. They're going to have a big role in this, and I think he should be chair in this position.
I'll second that.
I accept that as well.
Chris, did you second that?
I seconded that.
Thank you. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Unfortunately, we have to do a roll call vote. So we'll start with you, Mark.
Aye, yes.
Okay, Liz?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
Chief O'Brien?
Aye.
Nate Dowling?
Aye.
Did I get you? I got you, Bob Bouchard?
Yes.
Maureen Cadito?
I can't vote.
Oh, you can't vote. Thank you. John Oliveri, you can't vote yet. You're not going to appoint it yet until Monday.
Yep, and Matt Perkins is who you need last.
I think I got Matt. Okay.
Rich.
All right, so now we need a co-chair person in case Mark can't make it.
Rich, I'd nominate Rich LaCAM as co-chair.
I don't want that now.
You
What
got-
about you? Chris, would you take those
That's
responsibilities?
fine. That's fine. Unless Chris wants to do it. Hey, Chris, you want to do it?
I just-
I
I would
don't
recommend
have too much
that-
experience chairing.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, Chris.
I don't have too much experience chairing, so
All right.
Well,
I want it to run smoothly.
I'll second Nate's nomination for Rich.
Well, let me just say one thing is my experience with being on a board and not being a chair or a co-chair, as opposed to being a controlling member of that body, communication it's sent better to a chair and a co-chair. And I think the Board of Health might be of advantage because I think that they're the second most important part of this process. And believe me, Chris, I'm not going to let you down as far as being absent from the board. I just think from a communication standpoint, it probably would be well served to have a member of the Board of Health as part of that communication command.
That's fine with me.
Okay.
So I make a motion to nominate Chris Spratt as the co-chair.
Well, I'll rescind my motion.
All right. Somebody want to second that motion?
I'll rescind my second. Motion.
Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Did we get a second on that?
Yes, we did.
Yes, Oliveri.
All right. So let's go through our list again. Chris,
Aye.
Maureen, Liz, Nate,
Uh,
John,
Aye.
Not
Matt,
allowed to vote.
Aye.
Rob, Bob.
Too fast.
Tracy
Sorry.
hates you right now.
You can review the video. Bob Bouchard,
Yep.
John Oliveri,
Aye.
and did I get you, Chief O'Brien?
Aye.
Okay. All right. So here we
Can
are.
I ask a question though? Is this going to be a co-chair or a vice chair?
Vice Chair, I'm sorry. Right,
Okay.
Mark?
Yeah, vice chair.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry about that. All right. Okay. So, Mark, I assume you have the agenda in front of you?
I do.
Okay.
So item number 2, now that we've reorganized, is the requirements of the committee. I guess I want to throw that out to the town administrator briefly. Would you like to speak to that, Maureen?
So if you go, hold on, I didn't have my pages served. Just briefly, has everyone read through the 43D Priority Development Guidebook?
I have.
Tracy sent it electronically, and then we had physical copies waiting through at the police station.
Really.
Thoroughly, who said that? So this whole process is unique for the hospital project. 43D expedited permitting came about back in 2012, 2013. And it had specific tenets on how big the property had to be a 43 development property. So this is most likely the only 43D property that we will have in town unless another town meeting creates another one. So going through this, it's an expedited permitting process and kind of a synergy process with all the boards and committees and towns that are listed. So in order for everyone to be able to understand and process and get through the permitting process for each board and any hearing processes through the board, it's best to have a committee made up of individual members of the board that can help, I don't know, smooth out the process and make sure all the steps are being adhered to so we don't fall out of compliance for getting it approved within the 180-day time frame. Was there something specific, Mr. Chair, that you wanted to talk about besides the charge of the committee?
Well, I think with the 10,000 foot overview, I think the 180-day thing is the basic synopsis. If everybody has received the 43D guidelines, and they really should read through the first about 12 or 14 pages, because there are specifics individually For example, in item 3, applications completeness review, an applicant shall not submit a final application package to the town for 30 days. This is, I don't want to read the whole packet, but there are guidelines all along the way for each step. Jump down to upon application submittal, item C, the permit coordinator, which would be Maureen, acting for the Board of Selectmen, shall notify the applicant and the IPB by the certified mail completeness if the applicant is not notified by certified mail as to the completeness of the application within 20 business days. And this whole thing goes through with, there's all these little baby steps of 20 days, 30 days. If there's neglect by the board within 14 days after the date of expiration of the time of the applicant, an affidavit will be filed with the town clerk that basically automatically approves the process. So we have to adhere to all these steps. So I guess looking small in this process, there may be opportunities or required quick meetings if needed based on the time that an application or one of these parts of the process gets put in to either the town clerk or to Maureen. So I think just all members need to be aware of that, and please read that first section of that packet for the 43D committee meetings.
And Mr. Chair, if I could just add in, we're going to try to do as much as we can as I think they said it in the book as a one-stop shop, meaning we might have joint meetings of boards in order to facilitate, getting everyone on the same page together and being able to get things done a little bit quicker. But nothing, this process is not asking us to do anything against any of our zoning, any of our regulations, or approving it for any other reason besides it is good to go and ready to go. So it's incumbent on us to make sure that we're doing it in a timely manner. Even through all these remote meetings, it's actually easier at this point to get more people together, I think. So it's a good thing that we have this technology going right now. I think it would have been more cumbersome had it been the old in-person meeting routine and trying to get everyone in the same place at the same time. So sharing of information, making sure everything gets filtered back to me as far as information so I can share it back with the rest of the members when applicable, and being able to be experts in your own area and have helpful conversations with people not in your own area. So that's it for me.
Would it be all right if I veered a little bit from the agenda, just some things that have come up in my own thought process?
Can I excuse you, Mr. Chairman, for 1 second?
Go right ahead.
We have chat on here, and there's a question. What's the update of Lakeville Country Club golf course? This has nothing to do with, so this person, Lynn, knows that this has nothing to do with the Lakeville Country Club. This all has to do with the Lakeville Hospital. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're welcome. And thank you for responding to that. So we've spoken to the timelines. Maureen just touched base on communication. And I just want to ask from a legal standpoint and open meeting law standpoint that sometimes, even though the timeline is crucial in this, it's good to get a second set of eyes. And I just want to know, for any other board's edification, would it be improper for the member of, say, Board of Health or Planning Board to go back to their board members and ask questions about this process for an extra set of ears and eyes to review before we come back within the 43D process, before the plan comes to that specific board for their final review?
Oh, Mr. Chairman, absolutely.
Yeah, as long as it's an open meeting, that's absolutely part and parcel of how we would hope that it would go through. Because again, to be forewarned is to be forearmed when it comes to those type of things. So yes, all sharing of information is fine within groups, but sharing of any type of opinion should always be done in the open meeting format.
Understood. So number 4 on the agenda is the general third-party support opportunities. So I'm not fully familiar with what we're talking about there.
So this would be the engineering and services to get us through, right?
Okay, so we're talking about a possible peer review, so that touches base earlier than item 6. So as we're going to discuss now.
So, Mr. Chair, if I may, so I reached out, Jed Cornick from Serpide. As you know, Serpide was unable to fill our needs on this project because they are overcommitted on some economic development issues due to COVID-19.
I think a little understaffed as well as budget.
Yeah, and they have budget concerns because of the state and where the state's at right now. So Jed was kind enough to give me a list of firms that do the work and firms that he would recommend. So in addition to, I know that we reached out through to environmental partners and got some of their information. I reached out to all the other people on the list on Thursday and Friday of last week, and I'm still waiting for any responses on that. But I just wanted to make sure that, you know, we knew all of our opportunities before we would vote something. But in the interest of probably time and effort, if the board would like to vote for the permits coordinator / town administrator to pick an engineering firm and have that ready for you for the next meeting, I think that might smooth the process and go quicker. So just my suggestion.
Is there any other discussion on that?
Yeah. Go ahead, Mark. You want to go first?
No, I'm asking anybody here on the committee. Go ahead.
I really think that we need to get this company in place as soon as possible. And so I don't want to spend, my personal opinion, I don't want to spend the next 2 to 4 weeks trying to find out, you know, who we're going to use, because we're going to have our initial meeting, you know, next Tuesday, and it would be beneficial to try to get this company that we're going to use in place by may not have a contract in place, but at least we can invite them to participate in the Zoom meeting so they can look at it. But
can we make a deadline by Monday to make the determination, or?
We can, but I don't think, this is my opinion, Mr. Chairman, that, you know, the committee ought to vote, you know, on who this, you know, this company should be. I don't think it's up to the town administrator or the project coordinator, you know, to do that because of experience. I know Mark the planning board has had a lot of experience with a lot of engineering firms doing peer reviews, as the Board of Health has, and conservation, you know, commissions. So I really think this is a very, very important, you know, responsibility of this company. And the nice thing, you know, and I know you may or may not disagree, I don't know all the firms, but the environmental partners certainly has all the disciplines, you know, for all the planning board and the Board of Health and transportation and, you know, wetlands and so forth and so on. So I think we need somebody that has, you know, that kind of experience to do this, because they're going to be paying the tab on this. And so we want to make sure that we have the right firm in place.
Chris, did you want to speak to that? It looked like you were going to.
Yeah, I was going to kind of along the same lines. I mean, if Maureen wanted to narrow the list down to firms that are similar to environmental partners or companies that have adequate resources that can address all the things that we need, and narrow it down to a list of 5, then, you know, maybe next meeting we could have a quick discussion and vote on choosing one to go forward with.
I could give you a list of 3. I could give you whatever you want for numbers. Just want to help to expedite the process and not have it languish in committee.
I don't want it to languish either. I think we need to make it quick. But like Rich said, I mean, we want to make sure that everything's addressed that needs to be addressed.
So could I ask you, Maureen, when you reached out to other firms on Thursday and Friday, nobody got back to you?
No, well, it is Labor Day weekend, so they can be excused for, you know, not getting back. But I did send emails to everyone Thursday night and Friday. And unless Tracy got something last minute tonight, no one has called or emailed back yet.
And can I ask, was your list everybody from Serped except environmental partners?
Yes, because I knew environmental partners had already spoken out.
Yeah, well, I reached out to them, and I can say, if it means anything from a response standpoint, I got 2 phone calls back from Brian Trahan and I think his name is Patrick Turner within 3 hours. So if that weighs on anything compared to the other responses you didn't get, I think that's important as well.
Yeah. No, I would say responsiveness is always a key factor in any type of dealing.
So I do think that they would serve the town well. I'm not looking to try to unilaterally pick them, but I know the town's worked with them. They do a lot with town of Freetown currently. If we didn't want to drag this out, I wouldn't be adverse to using them. But if we wanted to wait and maybe have Maureen narrow the list, I don't want her to pick as much as come back to us for us to make the decision. But at this point, I'd have to be pretty impressed with somebody else to change from environmental partners so far.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I'll add to that if I may. I've worked with environmental partners on multiple occasions. They work with us on the MS4 permits, roadway adoption on roads like Setauket Trail, where they're out there doing the inspections for us. Incredible company. They do, you're right, they work a lot with Freetown. I read through their resume. I don't want to see this go too slow if we're meeting already possibly next week. I'd like to get them on board as soon as possible. I'd personally, right now, make a recommendation, barring any procurement laws to the contrary, to have the Board of Selectmen enter an agreement with the environmental partners to do the peer review on the scope of work, inclusive to the hospital project.
Is that a motion, Nate?
Yeah, it is.
I'd second it.
All those in favor, I'll do a roll call vote, starting with Liz.
I don't feel prepared to vote on this. Is there a way I can just abstain?
Yep, absolutely.
Great, thank you.
Chief Perkins?
Aye.
Chris Spratt?
Aye.
Bob Bouchard?
Aye.
Mike O'Brien?
Aye.
Mr. LaCamera?
Aye.
Nate?
Aye.
And John?
Aye.
Myself vote aye. Motion carries with a majority.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
John Oliveri is not allowed to vote.
Am-
Fair enough. So
Tracy, can I ask a question? Because I seconded it, so you may need to technically redo that. But am I on as ZBA or EDC?
EDC.
EDC.
I thought I was appointed as ZBA. I mean, it's fine either way, but the ZBA, I was their designee for 43.
So ZBA wasn't supposed to have a member, so we're not sure why you were appointed, but records show that it's the EDC, but it was just mislisted as the ZBA. How's
Okay,
that?
Good, good. I don't need to make any more motions or seconds.
all right. So as a point of order, I have a motion on the floor, and I'd like somebody else to make a second if they so feel fit.
Second.
Who made that?
I second.
All right. So I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Liz, do you still abstain?
I still have to abstain.
Okay. Matt?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Rich?
Aye.
Nate?
Aye.
And myself, aye. Motion carries with a majority. So item number 5 is to discuss and vote on the 43D Guidebook, which is this packet, I guess, that I have in front of me.
Mr. Chair, you did skip one item.
Go ahead.
Timelines. You skipped the timelines item on the agenda, so I don't know if you wanted to roll it into the discussion before.
No, we discussed that.
We didn't.
like in with the requirements of the committee?
Well, I had turned the floor over to Maureen about the 180 days, and we briefly discussed that each individual task within the application process has timelines.
We discussed it. We just didn't formally say we were talking about timelines, I think.
Okay.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
having to do with the timelines, I'd like to give the committee an update as to where the developer is right now and what they're talking about doing, presenting, if you don't mind.
Go right ahead.
Okay. Just so you know, all the environmental studies have been completed, and you know, having to do with the landfill and taking down the buildings and so forth and so on. So they know exactly what needs to be done now. They have an idea what it's going to cost, you know, to take down the buildings. They have an idea what it's going to cost to clean up the landfill. And what they're proposing to do is they would like to have a preliminary meeting with the committee next Tuesday night, September 15th at 7 o'clock, where they can come in and present an overview of the project. This is not a public hearing for the planning board or site plan review or whatever. They just want to come in and give the committee an update as to where they are, the timelines and so forth, and what needs to be done. Then sometime in the end of October, what they want to do is then submit the formal plans to the town and to the planning board. And at that time, hopefully, we'd be ready to move ahead with the process. So that's what they'd like to do.
And so to be clear with your update, the next Tuesday meeting does not start the clock. The October meeting will start the clock.
It doesn't start the clock until you, as a planning board, call the public hearing, you know, for the meeting.
Right.
So they may present a plan, you know, the end of October, but nothing is going to start until we say it starts.
Yeah, until we say that the application is complete.
Correct.
We have a completeness process that was like the 20 or 30 days, which is the first thing I think I mentioned when I thought I was discussing timelines. Nate, I saw you shake your head. Was that
accurate? Yep.
Okay.
So that's what they'd like to do, if that's what the committee would like to do.
Very good.
So if we are going to do that meeting, I would propose they would like to come in person and to meet with the committee members. Okay, there'd be no public attendance, you know, of this meeting. Of course, there'd be a Zoom meeting. So it would be kind of what they call a hybrid meeting, where they would come and meet with just the committee at the police station. And of course, we'd have to all make sure that we have 6 feet and we have masks on and so forth and so on. So if the committee's okay with that, then we can get Maureen to schedule that. If they're not, and some of the members just want to participate in a Zoom meeting, they can do that as well. But that's up to the chairman.
Well, I myself would like to have a public, well, not a public meeting, but an in-person meeting.
They feel it's important to meet the players too. So does I don't know if the board, everybody feels.
Averse to meeting in that forum at the police station conference room?
Pardon me? I'm sorry.
I asked if anybody was adverse or against meeting in person at the police station conference room, meeting room.
This is something I was going to bring up too anyway going forward, because I'm sure not everyone in the public is tech savvy and able to get on the Facebook Live or even that stuff. So at some point, we know there's going to be public that's going to want to be in these meetings and involved and speak to some of the stuff that's going to be talked about. So it's a good idea to bring up the hybrid thing now, because at some point I think it was going to have to be addressed.
Yeah. Excuse me, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, I think that's important, because one of the difficulties I know the planning board's having right now is obtaining signatures. And even if the board members could meet and still maybe have limited access to the public to only applicants, maybe not abutters, and the abutters could either do a Zoom link through something that LakeCAM could set up within the meeting space. I think that could be helpful, but that's a difficulty we have right now, is getting plans signed, because in the past we were all at a meeting room and we all had the plans right there. After the meeting, would sign our 15 or 20 copies. Now it's a struggle to get people to go by the vestibule. So I think it's something really important to work towards.
So I'm just trying to confirm, Mr. Chair, with Jose that we can do a hybrid method. We had a problem last time we tried it and the feed didn't work correctly. So he had to step out. I just sent him a message. I just didn't want you guys to, if you were going to vote on it, to doing a hybrid or without some input with the person that actually has the
Well, I don't see where it's a difference.
Well, this one wouldn't be a public hearing anyway, so it would just be the members of this committee and the applicant, and not for a public hearing or a vote.
Nope. No, he just had trouble with the technology, having it at the police station and on the Zoom to go over onto Facebook. That's my only concern. There was a problem last time.
But this one wouldn't go on Facebook, right?
It's an open meeting.
Oh, I thought it wasn't. It wasn't open to the public. It is, but it isn't. Right. Okay.
Okay.
Hi,
So,
Chairman.
Go
Hi.
right ahead, Liz.
I would be a guinea pig for that meeting. I'll stay home and do it from my house, and Jose can work on it because, I mean, I'm going to look at plans. I don't need to sign them, obviously. That's not yet, but, and my experience with plans isn't that in depth anyway. I'm better with words. So if Jose wants to practice, I'll go from Zoom from my house for that particular meeting while y'all is at the police station, if that helps at all.
Well, the chair calls the meeting anyway, so why don't we just let Mark work with Maureen to figure out what's the best way to pull this off, and then go from there. I mean, I don't think the committee doesn't need a vote to call a meeting, correct?
Right. It's just, what kind of time frame do we need to know by, Maureen, in order to have Jose either have worked out the kinks and or?
No, I'll work on it with him tomorrow if he's not available for the rest of the night. He was on here, but he's not now. So I'll work it out. I just want to make sure that we have the same expectations and that we're able to meet them.
So we're talking about Tuesday, September 15th at, I assume, 7 o'clock at the police station.
Yep.
So we're going to leave that open to hear from email. That's when I'd like to have the meeting. And Maureen, you please confirm that we can do a hybrid and that the meeting room is open and available.
In this chat, it says Jose says maybe.
That's so definitive. So I'll see if we can do some testing with Jose this week if he's having some trouble too, and try to get this ironed out.
How's Middleborough doing with their hybrids?
Not too bad. The only problem is the audio in the selectmen's meeting room is really tough. So the people at home have a hard time hearing the people in the selectmen's meeting room.
But the streaming's been okay?
Yeah, it's been fine.
Maybe Jose could reach out to whoever's doing that for maybe some tips.
okay, thanks, Mark.
Thank you. So I think we're to item 5 on the agenda, discussion and vote on the 43D guidebook. Does anybody have any discussion? Have they read through and do they have any questions, concerns, or thing they'd like to mention about it?
Chair, there was one issue that could be a non-issue. I'm not sure how the board feels about it, but under page 7, applications and completeness review, it had the non-refundable application fee of $400. That's not, that was something that was put into the last guidebook. I didn't know if anyone wanted to change that number or move that number, as that's not a solid number from the state as I can see it. It just says a fee. I would be in favor of not moving it. I just wanted to let everyone know that it is there and it is something that you guys could decide to change.
Does that $400 cover the accompanying application package submitted to the permit score to defray the costs of processing the application and carrying on the duties as required?
That seems like an arbitrary number to me, but would it cover a couple hours of salary for some people to do it? Yeah, but it's, Nate, you can speak to it better than I am. That just seems like a number that was put out there as a baseline back in 2013.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's an awful low number. When we're doing site plan review through the planning board for a larger project, it's $1,000 plus all peer reviews. But this process of the 43D design review committee shouldn't be quite as cumbersome as what it first appears. I mean, basically, we're just looking at the application to say it's complete, and then the various different boards and committees that are authorizing and permitting and licensing these activities, they're going to be taking in money for peer review. So there is going to be ancillary expenses to the applicant. It wouldn't break my heart to see it at $1,000, but it really isn't going to make too much difference one way or another if it's the 400. We do recognize that all building permit fees are 1.5% of construction cost. We can see that anywhere, $350,000 worth of permit fees, plus any, new growth taxation after that. So I don't know if it's worth bumping it up $600 at this point when it's just such a small number anyway, and we're going to be getting the design review fees and building permit fees and new growth taxation in the near future anyway. But that's up to the group here.
Let me ask you, would the planning board and the Board of Health and all the other special permit or review boards on their own still be charging for a site plan review or every other required fee?
Yeah, all the fees would still be applicable from the various different boards and commissions.
So, I'm sort of on the fence with you that $1,000 isn't absurd, but we are going to collect a lot of fees and tax money outside of that through this process if it continues on. So if no one else would speak to it, I'm going to recommend that we leave it at 400.
I would ask Maureen and Tracy if they feel that as far as this phase goes, is that enough to cover for this phase of it?
It's hard to say how long everything's going to take to say that it would be covering it, but that would be the very lowest and probably, to Nate's point, probably not covering it. But we are going to be realizing our fees for everything else. So it's not like we're going to be taking a hit in those departments. It's just going to be the review for completeness and pushing it through and, having all the different committee and joint committee meetings to get it done. So I don't know that you can really put a price on that at this point. I just wanted to bring it to your attention just in case you thought that was statutory, that it was in there. It was not.
Well, again, I think with the revenue that the project would do, I think we could leave it at that. And then maybe at the end of this project, if we feel that we're going to designate another project under this classification and that the process was too cumbersome for just the completeness review, that we should then revisit that, maybe increase the cost at that time. Everyone else in agreement with that, or?
I agree.
So I'm going to actually, to be official, I'm going to make a motion to keep the $400 application fee as it stands. Can I get that?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Roll call vote. Liz?
Abstain.
Matt?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Rich?
Aye.
Nate?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
That was a quick unmute.
So I think we sort of jumped ahead to item 6 on the agenda was discuss and vote on a peer review, which I believe we've taken care of that with our discussion already on the third party options, support opportunities, item number 4 on the agenda. So I believe that's everything for tonight.
Did we get the book too?
I think we just voted on the $400.
We just went on the $400.
All right, you're right.
I'll make a motion. We approve the 43D Priority Development Site Permitting Guidebook.
I'll second that.
Roll call vote. Liz?
Aye.
Matt?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Rich?
Aye.
Nate?
Aye.
Myself, aye. Motion carries with a majority. Or is that unanimous because John can't vote anyway? I'll leave that up to Tracy in the minutes.
Mr. Chair, who seconded that motion, please?
I did.
They did.
Who's
Nate.
aye?
Nate.
I can't see you all, so I don't know who's.
Wave.
Okay.
I'm gonna switch to mosaic view, Tracy. You can see everybody.
I can't.
So I think that concludes everything on the agenda. Is there anything else that anyone would like to discuss on the 43D process?
So, Mr. Chair, I might as well just add a couple of things because I don't want to get back together in another couple of weeks or next week actually and be wondering what our responsibilities are. I really think it's important for all of the different folks on this design review committee to start immediately thinking, what their group is going to need for this, what kind of licenses or permits or approvals or, where they're going to head with recommendations to the various different boards and committees. As you know, through the planning board, when you get a site plan review, you're going to be reaching out to all these folks. We want to get ahead of this. So, I would ask anybody that is here representing a committee to ask their associated chair to keep this as a running agenda item. For every meeting would have an update, have the conversation of where the project stands, when they're expected to be at that particular committee, so we can anticipate these timelines a little better, because once this starts, it's going to go very, very quickly, and Maureen's going to really have her hands full. She's going to have to start looking at, can we meet conservation with planning board on a particular night, just to expedite this process. And again, it was mentioned early on in this meeting, this process wasn't created to overlook anything or give any waivers or any such thing of that nature. This was just to make sure that we didn't have a stall in the permitting process. It's for transparency, to make sure the public's aware of everything that's going on. It's another opportunity for everybody to hear it and have all of these different disciplines at the table at one time, so we can talk about environmental issues, open space issues, any kind of public safety problems or building code or zoning problems. So I just want everybody to think about, how this is going to affect their various group and make sure the information gets back to them. That's all.
Thank you, Nate.
And to piggyback on what Nate said, just make sure you're sharing it all to me, and that way we can filter out anything that is non-informational. But yeah, there's tons of information that all of you are going to be working on and getting together. So, I appreciate everyone's commitment to working on this project. I think it's great.
More
to add to that too, does everybody have everything that's available from the developer already, that's already out there? As far as, I don't know if any environmental reports are already out there. I know I've seen the preliminary plan conceptual plan of what they have. So kind of have an idea of what you're going to be looking at before they even submit stuff.
Mr. Chair,
yes.
they're gonna give an overview of that on Tuesday night, Chris, and then after that you'll start getting all the documentation associated with that.
Right. I was just thinking about having questions for when even before when they present stuff from the preliminary stuff. We have stuff already had asked questions to add to that already.
Well, that's a good item to bring up. At the meeting next Tuesday is what your expectations are. As far as documentation prior to any meetings or whatever.
Yeah, would it be appropriate to ask the developer at this point to try to get us at least some information for us to start to digest prior to their presentation? Or do you think that we should just wait until the night of the presentation?
I'm not going to comment, one way or the other, but I think that their goal right now is to just give everybody an overview of the project and then talk about what our expectations are from what we need from them and so forth and so on. So I think, if they started providing all the environmental, as an example, all environmental reports, those things are huge. I know they've done transportation studies, and you've had conversations with them, Nate. So I think as they go through it, then you can ask for certain things, we talk about the landfill, as an example. They got to go to DEP, and they, talk about demoing the buildings. They got to go to DEP and all that stuff, all associated with that. So they're going to be discussing all of those things. And if there's additional information that the boards want, then we certainly can ask for it.
Yeah, and Rich, I know that you've brought it up on multiple occasions with the developer creating a website, making sure the public gets a chance to review all of this documentation. I don't know if the rest of this group has heard that. Rhino Capital is going to create a website specific to the Lakeville project. All of the associated documentation will be on that website along with every update. Timelines as far as even once they start construction, this is where they are, this is going to be the activity. So I expect probably after the meeting preliminary meeting where they discuss where they currently are, they'll start updating that website so all of our residents can see what's going on. It's a good way to share large documents. As Rich mentioned, phase 1 and phase 2 environmental assessments have been complete, monitoring wells, the whole 9 yards. So those are going to be big documents. I think that they might be better suited to share via their website. We can all download them and view them from there, and anybody needing hard copies, we can print them out. So just figured I'd throw that out there.
Their website is already available for the Lakeville Hospital site. So I'm sure they'll tell you on Tuesday night that they'll be updating that on a regular basis.
Can somebody get all the members a link to that as well?
Sure. There's not much on it now except a high-level plan, Mark.
Yep.
But we'll make sure that we get that. I don't know what it was off the top of my head. Sorry.
Yeah, that's fine. Maybe over the next few days of the week, it'd be good if you could get us the link and we could save it. So as time goes on, we could just not have to search for that and be able to log on. One other thing before we part is we have voted to procure environmental partners. Do you think it would be advantageous to have a representative attend that meeting? Should we reach out to them regarding that?
Yes.
I think it'd be a good idea, but
I do. I can't vote on it, but I think it's a good idea.
Don't be bitter.
If I were them, I'd want to be there.
Maureen, could you make that happen?
I will.
Excellent.
Is it Ryan Trahan going to be our contact for the project?
I think that they have, he may be the initial contact, and I'm not sure if they'll put somebody else. It really depends, I think, on what phase. There'll probably be multiple people we deal with that.
Initially, I'll reach out to Ryan and then he'll point me in the right direction.
Yeah, I'm just trying to look at my contacts to just confirm the other gentleman's name. And I'll make sure you have that as well.
Okay, you can just send that to me. Not a hurry.
Mr. Chair?
Scott Turner is his
Can I
name.
ask, Rich, are we going to try to get a contract on the selectmen's agenda for Monday night for environmental partners?
no way.
All right.
If we have to call a special meeting, we'll call a special meeting, but there's no way between now and Monday we would have a contract available. We haven't even outlined, I haven't seen anything, a proposal or anything, Mark. I don't know if you've seen anything, but.
Well, they need a set of plans to give a proposal.
Right. So, yeah, it's premature.
Okay.
And I mean, he said that when I spoke to them that they could give a price based on preliminary plans. So I don't know if they'd even want to attend the meeting, but it would be nice if they could, just to get them out in front of it as well. But at that point, we wouldn't have any kind of a proposal, financial proposal from them until at least a preliminary plan or the first plan in October was submitted.
Yeah, well, I think that probably what we need to do is have an outline of the services that they can provide us, and probably, you know, I don't know how they charge their rates or whatever, but we're not there yet. You know, we got work to do.
Right, and actually on that note, every board, like the Board of Health or Conservation, Planning Board, should all, I think, go to their next meeting and come up with a list of those disciplines that they want reviewed, so that we can actually provide a list of the things. Not only should environmental partners tell us in addition what they can do, but we should have the base list of what we need when we go to them and say, we need these 5 things. And even if they say, well, we can provide these other 2, that's great. But all boards should be thinking about the list of things that should be on that peer review for their own boards, and have that prepared to present to them. So, anyone have anything else?
Yeah. Is there any more, like, I don't know if I want to say rumor, but any idea on who the prospective tenant may be? Or do they even want to talk about it?
They're working on tenants, okay, and I don't know who they are, okay, but I'm sure that during their presentation on Tuesday night, they're going to talk about that. I don't know if they're going to give a specific company at this point, but I can tell you one thing, so people can put this behind them. It's not Amazon. So please, we hear all these rumors.
We
It's
laugh.
not
That's a
Amazon.
good thing. That some people are going to be like, oh, okay, we don't have to worry about that, right? Good thing at least one's eliminated, right?
Mr. Chair, Amazon's coming to Middleborough.
Oh, Amazon's going to a lot of places, but they're not
Yeah.
coming to Lakeville.
Yeah, they're going into the Compass.
That's just one of their facilities.
Yeah.
They got
Going to
multiple.
Bridgewater.
Yeah, they're going everywhere.
Yep.
Is there anything
Anything
else
up in the mall?
meeting?
Hey,
Anything else related to tonight's meeting? If nobody else has anything else, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
so moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second.
Who seconded?
Roll call vote. Nobody's going to vote no.
guy.
So, all in favor?
Unanimous.
All right, meeting's adjourned.
All right, thanks, Mark.